Hello, elementary string players. I want to share with you a resource that you can use to help improve your note reading. This is a really fun activity that you can do online. You don't need your instrument out, and it will help you become a better musician. You can even turn this into a little bit of a game, which is always a fun thing to do. So you can see that I am on the website musictheory.net. There's all sorts of resources on here, but I would like you to click into the note identification link. And once that comes up, you'll see that this is basically a quiz. It shows you a note and you have to say what it is. So this is a G sharp, so I'm going to click G sharp. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because depending on how long you've been playing and what instrument you play, you'll need to change the settings on this website to match what you know. So all of the settings are found under this little gear up here, and I'm going to move my video over so I can show you. Okay. Clef is where you're going to go to change your clef that you read. If you're a violin, you read treble clef. If you are a bass or a cello, you read the bass clef. And if you play the viola, you read alto clef. We'll come back to that in a minute because I'm going to show you the settings for every instrument in a second. The range is where you're going to go to set the lowest note you know and the highest note you know. Okay, and we'll do that in a second. The other thing I wanted to show you is in this this game, in your selections down here, you'll see there's a lot more than just the regular C, D, E, F, G, regular letters. Some of them have this sharp sign next to it, and some of them have this flat sign next to it. When you see the note up here, if you let me find one that some of our violins will know, that one is not as common, B sharp. Well, this is a high D, right? If you play the violin, you know that this is D. If there was a sharp sign next to it, it just becomes a D sharp. If there's a flat sign next to it, it just becomes a D flat. So you could choose through here. So I don't want you to get confused when that comes up. You actually might not even know how to play those notes, but you can read them. So that's kind of a neat thing that you're learning ahead of time. And as you can hear, when you hit the select the note, it actually plays it too, which is kind of cool. So let me go into this gear. I'm going to show you, we'll start with violin. So if you are a first year violin player, we know from your open D string all the way up to high D. That's your range that you know. So I would set your lowest note to be your open D, which is right here, the very bottom space below the staff, and your highest note to be high D. This is 3 fingers on the A string, okay? So if you're a first year violin player, I would set it to match exactly what my screen looks like. If you're a 5th grade or a 2nd year player, we've learned notes on the G string, so I would put your G as your lowest note, okay? And depending on how comfortable you feel on the E string, you could actually put your highest E string note, that's A, right up here, 3 fingers on the E string. So that would be the range I would suggest for 2nd year players, okay? Moving on to viola, let me take this one out. If you play, and by the way, did you see how I had to deselect treble? Because you could actually play this game with every clef as an option, but I had to deselect treble clef and then select alto. Again, for beginning violas, first year violas, we know from our open D string to high D, and that actually stays the same. So that's from open D to high D. So set it like that if you're a viola player, if you're a first year viola player, okay? Violas, we haven't done much C string as 5th graders, but we've done a lot of G. So I would go down at least to G like this. This is from open G to high D still on the A string. Or if you're feeling like you really would like to expand it, your open C string is down here. You could even use this to learn some new notes that you don't know, okay? And then for cellos and bass, let me change my clef again to bass clef. Okay, if you are a first year cello or bass player, you're going to be going from your open D string to high D. It's going to look like this. So if you're a first year cello or bass player, set it to look like this. If you are a 2nd year cello player, you can expand down. It's the same with violas. We've definitely learned the G. All of the G notes, so it would look like this. And if you'd like to include your C string in this, you could go down to here. So it's your choice, depending on how much you'd like to challenge yourself, okay? Now, let me go back here to, I'll go to treble clef. and just do a little sample because I want to show you something neat that you can do at home. You see how up here it keeps track of how many I've done and what percentage I got. So there's a couple of different ways that you could challenge yourself with doing this. You could say, I'm going to do 20 notes and see how many of those 20 notes I get correct. You could say, I'm going to start a timer and time myself for a minute and see how many notes I can do in a minute. Can I get correct in a minute? And challenge yourself to do that, to get more every time. You could say, how long does it take me to do 20 notes, and see if you can make that time shorter. So all sorts of different challenges that you can do. And the other kind of neat thing is you actually could take your instrument out and before you select the note, play it on your instrument. So like here, this is an E on the violin. I could take my violin out, put one finger on the D string and play that, and then select my E. Okay, so all sorts of different options. If this is going to be posted in Google Classroom, let me know what you're doing with this. You could even take a little screenshot of your best round and send it to me. I'd love to see that. And I just hope that you find this to be a really helpful resource so that we can be excellent note readers in the elementary school.